Courage, vision, resilience. It's more than just a journey. It's a universe of endless possibility, where a single idea can change a man's life, creating new worlds from the ground up. I am Ricky. I'm your guide through the epic stories of Web3 pioneers. Join me and enjoy the podcast. The Tales of Web3.
How's it going? Today we are recording the Tales of Web3 Season 2, Episode 6 with Bing, the co-founder of MegaETH. Welcome. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. I always wanted to get you on our podcast because I think you have so many hot takes and interesting stories, right? Today is all about us diving deep into those background stories that you haven't got a chance to tell the world about, and then all these journeys that you dive into the past. So why don't we start with a little bit background stories of how you started your journey in the Web3 and then ended up as the co-founder of MegaETH.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I really have to tell you things that I've never told other people before.
Let's go.
I have a lot of pressure. So I joined crypto, as a lot of people probably listening, in 2017, so the ICO era. But my exposure to crypto started when I lived in Africa. So I was born and raised in China, in Beijing, then went to college in the States, did not buy into the American dream. In fact, I thought the American dream was a thing that makes you an NPC in the game that we're all playing. Then I got really interested in the developing market. So I spent some time in India during college. And then I realized that, hey, there are a lot of things going on in newer markets where I could see things I've seen when I was little growing up in China, right? Like really fast growing GDP, lots of things happening. And then my company happened to have a global position. And I picked Africa literally just out of a whim because I was like, no one has gone there and maybe I should give it a try. So I went to Africa right out of college. And the thing I learned in Africa, I think that still is probably the bedrock of my belief in crypto was, I think most of the poverties are man-made. I think given the abundant resources on this planet.
I actually agree with that.
And and just how smart people are, right? Like, why are there still so much hunger and war and discomfort? I think it's because people in powerful positions don't really know how to exercise power, and the poverty is man-made. So the example I often give was, I would wake up one day, I live in Nigeria, and there's a sharp currency depreciation of 10%. That actually impacts every single person who lived there. And then the other night, then the morning, you would wake up and the price of rice started skyrocketing because the government decided to ban imports of rice in the hope of promoting domestic rice. But they kind of forgot that it takes some more months for rice to grow domestically.
I heard about things like that. Oh my God. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. So I think poverties are man-made. And I do think that crypto is that alternative financial rail. It is permissionless, but more importantly, it has checks and balance. So you can do evil, but the consequence of doing evil is grave. I think that's quite powerful. So then when 2017 happened and when Ethereum happened, and I was quite drawn to the idea of the world computer, which as MegaETH were trying to bring it back to the public consciousness. So the idea was, your personal computer only empowers you, but it can 10x your productivity, 100x your productivity, but it does not solve global coordination issue. It does not increase collective productivity. And I think the
Yes.
idea of crypto being a world computer is it really significantly improve human coordination when the human productivity reaches maximum. So then I decided to join Consensus when they were opening office in the Middle East. I did a bunch of pretty useless business development work, really. Like, and
They're
I think
not
those
like
are no, they were definitely not useful. And even these days, people were telling me like, "Oh, we're trying to like sell this crypto product to government." And I was like, "Bro, do me a favor, please don't. You're wasting your time." I think crypto fundamentally is a grassroots movement. When you're trying to do things top down, I think unless it's SEC approved ETH and Bitcoin as an asset, those things are top down. I feel like everything else needs to be grassroots. So I was at Consensus for many years. Then fast forward, end of last year, I met my co-founder Elon. He is one of the smartest person I know.
a giga chat,
Not sorry,
a giga chat, master of
like
technical stuff.
he is extremely technical, but he's very logical. He's someone who does not waste one single word. So everything coming out of his mouth is extremely precise and extremely logical. So I was like, yo, this guy is smart. I probably should work with him. So that's on my founder side. But then I think the idea of MegaETH really made sense. So when I first read the white paper, it, the title says something like 1 million TPS MegaETH. And I was like, what is this 2017 ICO scam? Like anyone who claimed 1 million TPS or
Never
the
hit
name
there.
MegaETH,
Yeah.
like, I mean, the name MegaETH is kind of scammy, to be honest. But it really grew on a lot of us. And the reason it's mega is because mega is 10 to the 6. And that's really the power of our chain. But the idea really resonated with me was when I was managing global business development at Consensus, I interacted with all chains. And it's not Ethereum, right? Some of my biggest deals was with alternative layer ones. I've worked with, I have not directly worked with Solana, but I look at Solana. I worked with Avalanche. I worked with Near. And I worked with all the layer twos as well. So I developed an understanding of the fundamental performance bottleneck for our blockchain. And the secret answer is if you want to maximize on performance, you must minimize on consensus. Consensus is the bottleneck of blockchain
I
performance.
see.
And what MegaETH does is we completely eliminate consensus. And we
Centralized.
really, by having a centralized sequencer,
I saw that.
but
Yes. Yes.
but we also really optimize our sequencer by rewriting the entire state trie. So we do not have Merkle Patricia tree, right? We have our own data structure, and that really gives us 90% of the performance boost. So that idea of, if you want to prioritize on performance, you should sacrifice on consensus. But how do you meaningfully sacrifice consensus? And the answer is to be an Ethereum layer 2, right? By using Ethereum security, we can afford to not have consensus. So the idea, the architecture of MegaETH really made sense to me. But then more importantly, I think the industry needs something like MegaETH. So despite us having a lot of chains, but most of chains actually do not optimize their stack on performance.
Agreed.
And what's the benefits of having performance like ours, which is not only TPS, but really on latency, right? So what is latency? Latency is the time of your user or any transaction when you hit send to it actually gets registered on the blockchain.
Real world blockchain.
For
Real time blockchain.
real part, yeah.
Let's
Still
go.
reading our tweets. Yeah. So for Solana has 400 milliseconds. Arbitrum does a good job, 265 milliseconds. MegaETH right now we have a pretty good DevNet, private DevNet. That's 10 milliseconds. We're hoping to reduce it to 1 millisecond.
That's cool.
So when you have such a performance reduction, there's a lot of things that you can build on top that you can't really build anywhere else. So yeah, that's how I left Consensus. My co-founder, whom I deeply respect, and then the technology also matters quite a lot.
This is awesome. Thanks so much for sharing the journey and share us a little bit more about the tech stack and the true value for MegaETH. I'm really curious, like as a founder, like what do you think is your superpower? right? Because from my perspective, I feel like all the founders, they have their different skill set, right? The one thing that really made them stand out, there's something that inside them that only they are extremely, extremely good at. Just wanted to, because I have, like, from my observation, right, I actually have an answer, right? But I wanted to hear, what do you think first before sharing mine?
Oh God, I love to hear yours. I think something differentiates me from many other founders is really having a North Star. I really believe in the word computer. I believe that crypto can let the small guys do big things. And then I'm trying to find both my team members and the MegaETH ecosystem, folks who believe in what I do, right? What I believe. I think that's something I'm good at. Everything else, I think you can learn it. You can't really learn your North Star.
I actually really, really agree with that. Like, I feel like a lot of like the epic founders mindset goes like, they're not skill set driven, right? They're not trying to practice any specific skills. They have a North Star or a goal they wanted to approach. And then whatever it takes, right? Whatever the fuck it takes, like they practice that and then toward the North Star, right? So I think I highly agree with that. From my observation, I feel like your superpower is the ability to collect people together, like people who buy in the vision, who share the same vision, gather them together, and then like just spend time with them, and then unlash the creativity together with all these people. So that's why amazing stuff can happening around. So like I think you're like a general, you know, and you are able to like, it's kind of cool. But I feel like without a North Star, like you can definitely not uh like be able to achieve what you are doing right now, right? Things that
I got
like
really lucky with my team. Yeah, you're right.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Speaking of that, one of the most magical things that I think in crypto right now, and a lot of people probably you don't even know about it, is the MegaETH and all these in-person event. It's not even an event, right? It's like a camp, like you said, right? A lot of the builders, they believe in the same vision. They wanted to build some cool shit. You fly them together. You live with them for a month or even longer. What is it like? Like, what is the reasoning behind why nobody have done this before, and you are able to pull this up? And then what is your feeling right now as the organizer of this? Right? It must be amazing. I just wanted to dive in deep on that.
I'm so relieved that everyone is safe. No one got lost. There's no major damage. Everyone is still healthy, even though we're still anti-longevity party. But the thesis was, I think it's quite personal. AI came up, and then I think everybody has a bit of an existential crisis moment. And I thought, what's so important? No, actually, I think it's COVID. Then it came. I was like, what really bonds, right? What makes us real human? I think nothing compares with in-person interaction. And this is something I learned from growing hotpot DAO over the years. And I think this is also important in crypto because use cases are not that obvious and easy, right? People often say, okay, fine, your chain is so fast, so what? Like all the apps work pretty well on Solana right now. Like, why do we need you? So it is my job to work with founders to build use cases that's only possible on MegaETH. Right? We call it Omega, only possible on Mega.
Let's
And
go.
in order, yeah. And in order to do that, I think the most effective way is to bring people together and continue to brainstorm and hold each other accountable. And you can't do it just for a 3-day workshop, right? You have to live, immerse yourself, you have to think about it, you have to worry about it. So that's the thesis behind it. I think what makes us human is that in-person touch. I think what it takes to build creative startups is that human touch as well. So that's why we decided to do so first, in-person interaction in Berlin this year in May, while we're doing MegaETH right now in Chiang Mai. We might do something smaller next year as well. And speaking of MegaETH, I'm quite happy. We actually just finished our closing ceremony, dinner.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I think people were happy. I think I was being very strict. I'm rather a very strict tiger auntie. And I'm very blunt as well. So when builders are now building something I think would make sense, I would tell them my personal view. They can take it. They don't have to. But I think overall people appreciate the honesty. In fact, one of the builder built a Telegram bot. So the bot's job is to basically roast people in my voice. Right? So whatever you send to the bot would be like, the bot is called Bing Bot. The bot would just
Damn.
roast. Yeah, it was really fun.
This is it an AI bot or is like just a random chat?
It's an
Bot?
AI bot, yeah, and it's integrated into our Telegram group at MegaZoo. So whenever you're lonely, you can actually just like summon up Bing Bot. And Bing Bot will chat with you.
This is really cool. Like since we're already here, like I've also been like hearing your other podcasts where you're able to share a lot of the good apps on MegaETH, right? Why don't we start to talk about a few? Right? I know there's the fully on-chain Minecraft. I know there's a 3D modeling where people can upload the image of themselves, right, and then make it open source or start it like sell them as NFTs. There's a bunch, right? Why don't you like also decentralized VPNs? Like I feel like just let's step a little bit deeper on that. Like how are these apps? How are you able to find these founders? Right? How are you able to unleash the creativities together with them, right, through these in-person interactions?
Yeah, so when we set out to build the MegaETH ecosystem, the first thing was, okay, we need to have a pretty solid DeFi infrastructure. So we have our spot DEX, which is called, it's actually not our spot DEX, our trading venue, which is called GTE, Global Token Exchange. So they are a AMM plus club plus token launchpad, right? They are as performant as Binance because MegaETH is simply extremely performant. And we have lending market, we have 2 lending markets, we have fully on-chain perp DEX, we have a solidity fork. So our team have been in crypto for so many years, we kind of know the basic, but even our basic DeFis are way more performant than anything else we've seen in other ecosystem. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is, again, I think my internal thesis is I want MegaETH to be known as an ecosystem that provides emotional value to end users. I want people to like
that's so
using
sweet.
MegaETH apps.
I love that.
I mean, no one likes their banking app, right? Like everyone is addicted to Instagram, TikTok. So I want to find people who build things that connect people, make things playful, etc. So with that thesis, we will go out to find builders, right? So fully on-chain game is a variation of that. Fully on-chain game isn't just a game, right? It's also a digital economy. It is the forbidden word that no one wants to use this anymore. This
It's
cycle is
autonomous
called
role.
metaverse. It's
Yes.
honestly, it's just metaverse, but put it in a more sexier term. It's autonomous world, but honestly, like, we don't have to fool ourselves. But yeah, so people should play on-chain games and actually have fun with it. The VPN is another example where, like, growing up in China, I use VPN all the time. I now live in Dubai. Again, I use VPN all the time.
Same,
And
same.
I think like 100%
Even in the US, you use VPN all the
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah, to get your token airdrop, I guess.
100%.
So that's a use case. I think when you make the VPN extremely private, I think it adds benefit to people, like people with the peace of mind, right? Like my VPNs are not selling my data. And then some of the other projects, so we are from Web2 founders. So Pump Party, which is a game show, it's a combination of HQ Trivia and Mr. Beast. So every day at 7 p.m., you go on this app and you play game with people, and you split a prize pool. But the prize pool is really big because it has
cool.
some crypto native economic in it. But you're not gambling, right? The only way for you to get it is just play a silly game. And I love silly games. I think silly games are so underrated.
Same. I agree. That's the best gateway to onboard people. And it's just
Exactly.
Web3 is not fun right now. You need all these silly games, playable games, right?
Yeah. So our fully on-chain Minecraft, actually, their tagline is "Playful is here." Which I thought was
That's cool.
quite cute. So overall, I think this idea of providing emotional value.
That's really beautiful. But speaking of like not for the apps but a community, I feel like MegaETH have such a vibrant community, right? People love the culture, and I think you have a lot to do with it, right? Because I've seen you sending out these like cute little quiz for them to take. Like these, obviously, there's a bunch of effort that I've been trying to take to build the lovely community, right? full of the users, people who are excited about the community and about the ecosystem. What are some of the this like let's say more specific approaches that you've been doing, right? Let's say building your Discord community, Telegram community. How did you bootstrap that into something that, when people right now think about the MegaETH community, think, okay, this is a group of people with vibrant, active contributors, right? Who all wanted to contribute to the ecosystem. Like, what does it take for you to get there, right? To bootstrap, to co-start?
I think you're being too nice. I feel like our biggest weakness is on the community. And I think
Wait,
the reason
seriously?
is, yeah, I think we're pretty good with builders because the product itself is quite differentiated and, we're highly opinionated. But crypto communities is different beast, right? Like we don't have new retails coming in. So everything you do is almost PvPing. And we don't play PvP game, and so we don't really take people from other community. We don't do airdrops, we don't do campaigns. So actually it has been really difficult to build a community.
Wait, have you guys
we
directly said there's not going to be airdrops? Like, what do you mean by like no airdrops? Like just no?
There's no airdrops.
That's interesting approach. Like what? Why it specifically said no airdrop? Because I feel like there's different ecosystems, right? Even if they don't say there's gonna be an airdrop in the future, they're not gonna say there's not gonna be an airdrop either. You know what I mean? Because that will somehow eliminate a lot of like the people, especially the Web3 users, passion, right, about contributing.
I think contribution is not airdrop. You can still contribute and get rewarded in the most crypto native way. But when you say you are running specific campaigns and airdrop,
I think we cut off a few seconds, but
yeah,
you just said people can still come to community, contribute, and get reward without airdrop, right? And then with the goal of getting an airdrop, probably that's probably not the most sustainable way of running a group of contributors and vibrant community.
I don't think any protocols these days are designing airdrops. I doubt
Anymore.
it. Yeah. Or any legit protocols, right? We're building for the long term. We are building for the next 5 to 10 years. And anything that just benefits short term incentives, we are not doing it.
I see. So what are some of the approaches? Since you're saying like the retail users or like the retail investors, right? These are like your weakness right now. What are some things that you wanted to do or approach that you wanted to try out to see somehow you can get the attention of these users?
I think the goal is not to get attention. The goal is also not the size of your community. I think a lot of times you see on Twitter, there are communities with a lot of bots and armies. That's not genuine. Everything we're trying to do is real, let's say, or real-time blockchain. So the way we are going to build a community will be around our applications, will be around the Mega Mafia. We want people to come in, try our applications, really experience something different, and build conviction with our chain.
I like that. I like that. This
Yeah.
actually really make me think, because this is a different approach, I would say, than most of the projects that I'm seeing right now. And this is kind of fun. I think we are almost getting to like a question that I really am curious about too, which is your hot take, right? Like we can dive into this or whatever other hot takes you have. But like for season 2, Tales of Web3, I ask all my guests to share one controversial hot take that you held lately, right? The hotter, the better. Like we can dive deep. And I'm gonna push you hard on this. Like, give me a hot one.
I'm not sure if it is hot because I feel like I'm quite authentic and spicy in general. So you let me know if it's hot or too hot. I think Ethereum is not meritocratic enough. Therefore, I think Ethereum, including the price, needs to go down, and then and wash out people who actually don't believe in Ethereum, because Ethereum, it's Ethereum is something complex to describe, right? But I do think there are a lot of people actually who don't genuinely believe in Ethereum and just talk about price. I think these people just sell their ETH, let the price go down, and when the price go down, you have a new class of builders who actually believe what it is, and you have new investor coming in, and then they can rebuild the ecosystem and then share the price upside. So the hot part of the take is I think Ethereum price needs to go down.
This is kind of cool. Like, but what if in a more extreme case, 90% of the ETH holders right now, they are only here for the price? Are you saying like all these 90% of people they should sell or they should be washed
Yeah.
down? Even
Yeah.
it means Ethereum should hit $500.
Yes. I mean, I frequent tweet, right? Sunny is
that's
to
spicy.
zero.
I like it. I like
Okay.
it. Really spicy. This is cool. This is okay. What is the biggest lesson you learned as a founder in 2024? Specifically to this year, because I think you, as someone who been trying out all these different things, you probably have one of the highest growth curve in the entire industry. So it has to be 2024, the biggest lessons that you have learned. And you think probably is almost near to like a truth or wisdom, right? That you think people will be able to like be benefited from this.
Sleep well, eat healthy.
That's
Don't
not
drink
something
too
you'll
much.
learn in 2024.
But the price of not being healthy is huge in 2024.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, I'm healthy. I'm just saying, lesson learned is just have a healthy body, and then you have a healthy and sharp mind.
Thank you for keep it simple yet elegant. Okay. The next question is the most interesting question, right? And it's the essence for the Tales of Web3, which is you sharing a most interesting story, right? As specific as possible on your journey building MegaETH, right? It can be something like full of risk taking. It can be something full of twist, randomness. It can be about fundraising, building community. It can be anything. But I want it to be very, very interesting. And this is something that only you can do, right? And then this is something that you've done in the past that made you who you are today. So the stage is yours.
Yeah, this is like a recent memory, so there might be a recency bias. So this week we just onboarded Brad, who is our head of community. So T-Rex Brad guy, if your audience
I saw him
on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, he's we're very lucky to have him. But the story of him joining us was it's not too short. So he reached out to me in May, a few months ago. And actually, probably when we announced our fundraise, and he wanted to see if he can contribute. And I always wanted to build a super tiny, lean team. So I didn't want to hire anyone. So I wrote back to him. I said, hey, feel free to contribute to our Discord, and I will hire people from Discord. And the reason is back then I already hired my BizOps guy from Discord because I love people in the trenches. Because I've, even for the last 7 years, I'm also in the trenches, right? So there's like,
this is beautiful.
Game recognizes game. So yeah, my BizOps guy, Ishan, is amazing. Like he's extremely crypto native, cold DM me on Discord and I hired him. So I told Brad, I said, yo, if you want to get hired, contribute. And then for the following many months, he just been like tweeting out stuff about MegaETH that's just way better than how I would describe MegaETH. And then during Token 2049, I was looking for someone to lead our community, but I was not thinking about Brad. I was just like, okay, I need to find someone who lead the community because our community is tiny. And then probably a lot of people know MegaETH has really good swags. Right? We have very like a rare, limited, good quality T-shirt, and I want to make sure I give the T-shirt to people who've been supporting our ecosystem. So I thought about Brad, so I messaged him. I said, "Yo, like I'll hand deliver you the swag. I'll hand deliver a T-shirt." He was like, "Oh, I'm doing this event with Jupiter, so with Meow.
Yeah.
I'm here." And then I basically landed all of my meetings, and I went to the Meow event. It was amazing. Like be friends with Miao, the entire Solana community, really lovely folks. And those are, he basically threw a little workshop with all the creators, and
Nice.
Brad was there. Met Brad, gave him the t-shirt, met his partner as well. Just really lovely, like very wholesome. And then it was from that like uh, real life interaction. Um, 2 weeks later, I was like, I can't find someone to lead our community. But then Brad came back up
Let's
again.
go.
And then and then I reached out and he's like, oh, wow. Like, do you remember I reached out to you many months ago? So I think this is one where I will probably always remind myself. I think it's important to talk to everyone, to pick people from the trenches, but also to like continue interacting with people. I think it's very important for a founder to give people personal attention. Me traveling to see him just to deliver swag. But it was beautiful because I met all these other people who was like really much outside of Ethereum echo chamber, right? Which I do not want to live in the Ethereum echo chamber. I was very happy hanging out with Solana guys. So yeah, that was the story.
That's a beautiful story. I love founders who've been in the trenches, and especially like if you want to build like a lean team, I really agree with that too. That's exactly how we wanted to build our team here at Cyber as well. So this is nice. This is a really sweet story. Um, Another thing I wanted to touch on is specifically on the creativity side, right? I think you are someone who value creativity a lot, right? And that's the essence of how we can build cool apps, right? Because otherwise it's gonna be boring. What do you think fosters creativity, and what do you think kills creativity? I think being in person interaction, living with the people who you love, who you wanted to build stuff together is important. But what else?
I think there are two things someone must uh, have thought through. The first one is, what are the market insights that other people don't know? It requires to really go deep into the category, do your research, and find out what's like so plainly, it's so obvious, but people choose to ignore. I think that capability requires a lot of homework from the background. So I think that's super key. I think the second one is probably like, sounds cliche, is first principle thinking. There are so many times where crypto founders came to us, slash a token on something, hoping it would work. And I would just ask myself like, yo, bro, like, sorry, it doesn't. Like, also like, crypto is maturing, right? Like, your token will not even make you money. So
Yeah.
if you really want to make money, leave a legacy, build something novel, right? Go back to the drawing board. So I think the ability to like get insights, take action on insights, what kills and then first principle thinking. I think what kills creativity is just short-term thinking. Like, if you're like, some builders came to me, right, and their value proposition is their projects are fulfilling all the Binance listing requirements. And it's like, obviously your project probably is not really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's definitely not the devs or the apps, the builders you're looking for to work with, right? Makes total sense. I think we are heading to the last part of the episode, right? I wanted to leave the stage for you to show MegaETH hard, to show Ethereum hard, why people should be bullish about both, right? What are some exciting roadmaps on your roadmap that people, if they are like a random user, right, they wanted to participate, what kind of apps they can play around with, how they can join the community, right? Become a contributor. But please.
Yeah. I think the value proposition of Ethereum MegaETH are quite straightforward. In order to build a world computer, you need a security layer that's extremely decentralized and censorship resistant. That is Ethereum's value proposition. One analogy I often use is the Sleeping Beauty example. Suppose you go to sleep in the next 20 years. Where are you going to put your money? Really? You're going to probably put some money on Bitcoin. You're going to put some money on ETH. If there's any other chain you want to put money on, Yeah, so can you pass the Sleeping Beauty contest? So I think Ethereum's only value proposition is to be the security layer for the world computer. Then the value proposition of MegaETH in the world computer is to be the fast execution environment. That's our stronghold. But the other thing that MegaETH does that no one else is doing is we're also building a bunch of infrastructure, middleware, and distribution channel around our chain. So it's almost like difficult to think about MegaETH just as a chain. I'd like to think that we're building, our investor, Dragonfly, often said we're the iPhone moment for crypto. In the beginning, I was like, oh, so cliche. Like, what do you even mean? But, after many months, I really get it. We are the most curated, opinionated execution environment. And we are going to give users an experience that's parallel to what Apple does to their developers. Right?
Opinionated, that's the key. I love that word. I love it.
Yeah, so it's very much premium, smooth.
Yes.
So if you want to build on Apple, you should build on MegaETH, I guess.
Let's go. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that is all my questions, right? Again, thanks, Bing Bing, for joining. I really had fun. And that puts the end to the Tales of Web3 Season 2, Episode 6.
Thank you for having me.
How do you feel? 感谢呀，感谢冰老师。
哎，不用谢，不用谢，这个没有人平常问我这些比较难的问题。
你也太好玩了，哎，我真的好奇一下，所以你觉得？